Hi friends, welcome on YourPedia, and you are watching the module by YourPedia for BSNL Senior Executive Engineers जो technical post है Senior Technical Executives. और this particular video is related to the topic in the syllabus of your exam, that is project management. And project management, there are some tools which are used to manage the project. They are called networking techniques or tools, PERT and CPM. So this video is related to PERT and CPM. So in this video I'll be explaining you about what is PERT, what is CPM, what is the benefit and advantage of these two, what is the difference between these two, what is the critical path, what are the critical activities, what is event, what is node, what is activities, what are the floats, what are the slacks, what is crashing. Those things we will discuss today. In my opinion, numerical will not come. They will not ask you numericals, but they can ask you theory question, like what is the difference between PERT and CPM, where these are used, what is the estimate time, how do you calculate the time estimate for PERT, where do we use PERT, where do we use CPM, how do we calculate the critical time of the project. So those kind of questions can be asked. So at the end of this document is available to you on the panel. So after you go through this document and understand the concept, then do questions. A lot of questions are provided to you, so you have to do these questions, and once you complete these questions and then you go for test, I'm very sure you will be well prepared for this. So let's start, friends. What is project scheduling? I told you first in this chapter we discussed about what is the project. So definition of project is temporary endeavor to complete some objective, handling couple of activities. So a group of activities to complete particular objective, and this entire thing is a temporary endeavor. So this project is always temporary in nature. It is not permanent, unlike product. So it is temporary endeavor. Endeavor means some venture from our side, some initiative from our side. So it is a temporary endeavor having starting line, finish line, simultaneous activities, group of activities, some objectives. The project activities consume resource, money, time, these resources. So that is what the project is. When we talk about project management, it is like managing all these resources and completing this entire project. Project manager is the executive who is given the charge to complete the project. Project always has a starting line, always has end, finish line, and there is a budget kept for project, and project is group of activities. Once you complete all those activities, project gets completed. Now we need to be very clear about what is the minimum duration in which I can complete the project. So to know how all the activities are going in the project, what are the various activities and how the project will flow, the network diagrams are very helpful. So we have already done the charts like bar chart, Gantt chart. Gantt chart tells us about the progress of our project. Network diagrams give you visual idea about what are the various activities, what is the relation between these activities. So A, B, C, D activity, are they sequential or they are consequential? I mean, are they simultaneously taking place, parallel activities, और एक के खत्म होने के बाद दूसरी आएगी. So first A will come, then B will come, then C will come. So which is the successor activity, which is the predecessor activity? Successor activity is some activity which follows. Predecessor activity is something which is initial activity. Before this activity will happen. Successor means after this activity will happen. So those group of activities, that is what is the thing shown by PERT and CPM. Then we discussed about the phases of the project, that planning phase, implementation phase. So all these things. Now planning के अंदर scheduling भी आता है. Scheduling means timeline, how much time project is going to take. So this PERT and CPM, though these PERT and CPM network diagrams are helpful in all the phases, but most relevant is for scheduling the project, which actually is discussed during the planning phase of the project. So scheduling is a part of planning phase of the project, and scheduling may we discuss about the various scheduling of the project. So we plan, we organize, we control the entire project. Two important methods for this are PERT and CPM. Full name you should understand, what is PERT, what is CPM. Both are network diagrams, and let me give you here how it looks like. So this is the starting of the project. We say that at time t is equal to 0, project started. Now this is the end of the project, when the project will be completed. Completion of the project, we want to calculate when the project will be completed. So now there are different activities. Activity A takes 25 days, activity B takes 15 days, activity E takes 5 days, activity C takes 20 days, activity H takes 20 days. So there are some parallel activities, there are some sequential activities. Let me give you example. Activity A is predecessor of activity D. Understand carefully. Before activity D, you need to complete activity A. You will say activity D is successor of activity A. That means first A, then D. So D is a successor of A. A is predecessor of D. I hope आपको predecessor और successor पता लग गया. But when we say B and E, so B and E are parallel to A and D. तो आप देखोगे ये जो एक्टिविटी B and E है ये पैरेलल हो रही हैं. These are parallel going, this is parallel going, C is also parallel. So this is further parallel to C. So activity C is parallel to activity this, is activity this. So as you can see from starting point there are three paths, A, B, C. So three activities emerge from initial node, which is starting node. Okay, so activity these are three parallel activities, A, B and E and C. These are three parallel activities. So now how many paths do you see going from here? कितने path आपको नजर आ रहे हैं? For reaching from starting point to end point, I can take many paths. Either I can go like this, or I can go like this, or I can go like this, or I can go like this. So कितने path हैं आपके पास? एक CH path, दूसरा B, E, G, J, तीसरा A, D, G, J, चौथा A, D, F, I, A, D, F, I, B, E, G, J, C, H. So these are some of the paths. Any other path, friends? So these are some of the paths which basically you can make use of going from starting point to end point. Now which is the longest path? Now see this carefully. A takes 25 days, then I reach here. 25 plus 10 more. For reaching to node 40, these are called node. These all circle are node, or these are the events, node or events, right? Now from start to 10 node I reach in 25 days. From 25, 10 more, 35. If I go through this, after 15 days I reach 20 point, and after 20 days from this path I reach 40. Now which is the longest path to reach 40? This one is the longest. How many days? 25 plus 10, 35. Now after how many days I reached here? After 20 days. Now I reached from this to this 20 days. Now I am to go to this part. 35 plus 10, 45. 35 plus 15, 50. 50 plus 10, 60. 45 plus 5, 50. 20 plus 20, 40. So if I take this path, I reach in 40 days. If I take this path, I reach in 50 days. If I take this path, that is A, then I take D, then I take F, then I take I, it takes 60 days. So longest path is 60 days. This is called critical path, which is shown in red, longest path. What is the minimum time taken to complete the project? In how many days your project will be completed? Minimum time. If you say 40, your answer is wrong. Why? Because अगर तुम 40 days में यहां पहुंचे तो ये दो एक्टिविटीज तो पूरी हो जाएंगी. C and H will be completed. C takes 20 days, H takes 20 days. 40 days में C and H will be done. But do you think in 40 days A, D, F, I सारी complete हो जाएंगी? These take 60 days. So some activities will remain incomplete, and project will be completed only if all activities are completed. So the time in which A, D, F, I are completed 60 days, in that time A, C and H will also be complete. In that time B, E, G, J, which takes 50 days, will also be complete. So all the activities will be completed minimum in 60 days. And when 60 days are hit, our project is complete. No doubt here C and H only take 40 days, so they have 20 more days left for them. That is called a kind of float. Float means buffer कितना बच गया, उसको float बोलते हैं कि कितना buffer बच गया. तो ये है friends critical path. So what is the definition of critical path? Longest path on network diagram. Starting of the project, finish of the project, these are called nodes, and the activities, the path which are not critical are called non-critical path. Now non-critical path के ऊपर आपकी जो this float is remaining, float is there, like 20 days float यहाँ पे आपको दिख रहा है, that means spare time दिख रहा है. लेकिन critical path में spare time नहीं होता, because if I am to complete the project in 60 days, I should complete this entire project in 60 days only. So that is how it is. So यहाँ पे ये red lines जो है वो critical path show कर रही हैं. Critical time is 60 days here, which I told you. This is how it goes. Now what is critical path method? Critical path method is the critical path longest path, as I told you, shortest duration in which product can be completed, and critical activities के लिए 0 होता है. Critical path method basically CPM, it is a deterministic approach. Why I call deterministic? Because the time for each activity is clearly known. जैसे मैंने आपको भी activities दी थी, उसमें मैंने I gave you one time. A will take 25 days, B will take this many days. So it is very clearly known to us how much time each activity is going to take. So I know deterministically, for sure, I know what is the time of each activity. So this entire is activity oriented model. Activity PERT, this CPM is activity oriented. That means I focus on activities, and accordingly I keep on calculating the time duration for the project. Float also we will calculate later on. And crashing, project crashing means reducing the time duration of completion of project. So I am to reduce the time in which project can be completed. Crashing of the project means reducing the time of completion of project. I told you, like, it is going to take 60 days to complete the project. Crashing of the project means reduce it, do it less than 60 days. And what happens in the crashing? Time duration is going to reduce, but at the cost of some kind of money. Maybe when I crash the project, my cost increases. It may increase, it may not increase. So optimum duration to complete a project means the duration in which, the minimum duration, the duration in which cost incurred is minimum. So if somebody asks you what is the optimum duration of the project, that means minimum cost. The cost incurred should be minimum. Now there are different kind of cost in completion of the project: direct cost, indirect cost. So optimum term is related to minimum cost. That means in how much time should I complete the project so that cost is minimum, that is called optimum cost. So when I crash the project, no doubt duration decreases, time taken to complete the project decreases. Now when I reduce the time taken to complete the project, cost may increase, cost may decrease. So understand one thing, crashing means reducing the time to complete the project. There may be some urgency, like एग्जाम जल्दी आ गया, हमने सोचा था 25 दिन में हम सारा मॉड्यूल कंप्लीट करवाएंगे, एग्जाम जल्दी आ गया तो हमें प्रोजेक्ट को क्रैश करना पड़ेगा, हमें उसको 15 दिन में करना पड़ेगा. उसके लिए क्या हो सकता है, मे बी हमें टीचर को ज़्यादा हायर करना पड़े, हमें महंगे टीचर लगाने पड़े, मे बी डबल लोड में काम करना पड़े, तो मे बी कॉस्ट हमारी बढ़ जाए. या ऐसा हो सकता है हमें जल्दी से खत्म करना पड़ेगा, तो हमें अब रिकॉर्डिंग रूम की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं, क्योंकि 25 दिन का काम 15 दिन में कर दिया, तो आपका कॉस्ट मे डिक्रीज. सो व्हेन यू क्रैश द प्रोजेक्ट, सो व्हाट हैपेंस टू द कॉस्ट? इट मे इंक्रीज, इट मे डिक्रीज. or may remain same. What happens to time? Time certainly decreases. That is called crashing the project, right? So in CPM you deal with deterministic time estimates. That means you know what is the time going to be. Deterministic activity time. Activity duration is known, unlike PERT, in which you take the time duration through probability. Time cost trade off, right? So critical path पे आप duration को कम करते हो, but cost को अगर आपको कम करना है तो that is called optimum duration. So CPM is used for project where multiple interdependent activities are there, right? What is the full form of PERT? Program Evaluation and Review Technique. So this is the probabilistic model. So time durations we don't know, so we take 3 time: optimistic time, most likely time, pessimistic time. तो हमारे पास टाइम पता नहीं होता, हम probability theory लगाते हैं. We make use of probability theory and accordingly calculate the time. So unlike the diagram which I gave you, ऊपर diagram में every activity was time for every activity was given, but on the PERT you are given three time duration: optimistic time, most likely time, pessimistic time. Now what is the meaning of that? BSNL module, optimistic time, if everything goes okay, every teacher is completing his part in due duration which they committed, everything goes okay, we will complete this project in 25 days. Optimistic time. No, the teacher is not available, teacher he faced some kind of sickness, or teacher took some kind of leave, so he stressed it, 40 days. Pessimistic time. Most likely 30 days. 25 optimistic, I will complete this project in 25 days. Optimistic, everything goes okay. 40 days pessimistic, everything goes bad, wrong, I could not complete it. 30 days on an average. That is a, so probability theory से आप optimistic, pessimistic, most likely time you 3 times you calculate in PERT, and इन तीनों टाइम से आप एक्टिविटी टाइम निकालते हो जो CPM में वैसे दी होती है, deterministic, that is provided to you. So normally for each activity, now the most important thing is beta distribution is used to estimate the activity duration, beta distribution, but for project normal distribution is used. So each activity का जो टाइम आपने निकाला वो बीटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन से निकाला in PERT. PERT is used for non-routine projects, something which are not done in routine. जो नए project है, something new, the new kind of projects. I am doing it first time. R&D projects, research and development project और large infrastructure project, they are PERT. And time जो हम उसमें use करते हैं distribution, that is beta distribution. 3 time estimates are this: optimistic time, shortest time 25 days as I told you, most likely on an average, pessimistic, everything goes wrong. And from this 3 time duration, how do I calculate the estimate time? Optimistic time, T optimistic, plus 4 times most likely time plus pessimistic time divided by 6 is the Tij. Now what is Tij? Let us say this is activity A. So time taken, this is I node is the initial node, J is the finish node. I completed activity A. Activity A starts from node or event I, J is the end node or end event, and Tij is the time for activity A. Now in CPM clearly it is given that A activity is going to take 25 days. जो आपने पीछे network diagram we have just seen, in that every activity time was given, that is called duration of activity. In PERT we are given 3 time estimate. We are given 3 time estimate: TO, TM, TP. From this we calculate Tij and that is mentioned here. So PERT में आपको 3 time दिए होते हैं. And for project completion, normal distribution is used in PERT. Beta distribution for activity and normal distribution for project. Don't make mistake. Beta distribution is for activity. Most likely, optimistic, pessimistic, that beta distribution is used. And this normal distribution is for completion of the project. Now, PERT and CPM, what is the difference? In both PERT and CPM, they both are network diagrams. So PERT is used when activity is new and we work on probabilistic model. CPM is deterministic model. So PERT में normal distribution is used for completion of project and beta is used for activities. PERT use 3 time estimates as we discussed. So this is in the PERT, you will say which distribution. This is PERT. Project is normal distribution. This is not, this is beta distribution. Beta distribution you see something like this, skewed होती है, ये है skewed distribution. Table of difference of PERT and CPM. Critical path method, full form is this. Statistical technique, this is for project management, for well defined activities, deterministic activities. Activities time duration is known, activities time duration is not known, uncertain activities. Probabilistic model, deterministic model. Activity oriented, event oriented. You know what is event? वो राउंड वाला जो है, that is starting point, end point. There are so many event. This is activity oriented, this is event oriented. So this is construction project से निकल के आया है, ये हमें पता होता था construction project में every time estimate is known. This is from R&D projects, right? Single time estimate होता है, 3 time estimates होते हैं. टाइम कॉस्ट ट्रेड ऑफ के ऊपर डील करता है, टाइम एस्टिमेट और प्रोजेक्ट शेड्यूलिंग पे डील करता है. डमी एक्टिविटी इज बेसिकली घोस्ट एक्टिविटी, एक्चुअल में एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती, लेकिन हमें प्रोजेक्ट को सॉल्व करने के लिए, हमें रिलेशंस को मेंटेन करने के लिए, रिलेशंस एक एक्टिविटी और दूसरी एक्टिविटी के बीच में जो प्रेसिडेंस हमें सेटअप करने के लिए डमी एक्टिविटी की रिक्वायरमेंट पड़ती है. डमी एक्टिविटीज आर यूज्ड टू बेसिकली कंप्लीट द प्रेसिडेंस. दे आर हाइपोथेटिकल फिक्टिशियस टास्क एंड डमी एक्टिविटीज डू नॉट कंज्यूम एनी रिसोर्स. नो टाइम नो कॉस्ट. डमी एक्टिविटी कितना टाइम लेती है? नो टाइम नो कॉस्ट ऑफ डमी एक्टिविटी. दे आर फिक्टिशियस हाइपोथेटिकल एक्टिविटीज ओनली टू शो द प्रेसिडेंस. प्रेसिडेंस मीन्स what after this task after this task, and sequence dependency precedence शो करने के लिए होता है बस. इसका 0 ड्यूरेशन होता है, no resource it consumes. This is shown as some kind of dash arrows on the network diagram. Dependency relation only it is showing. कोई incorrect dependency ना आए इसके लिए हम इनको यूज करते हैं. So these are used for that particular purpose. Significance क्या है? This ensures the logical link between the diagrams. It helps project managers to correctly assess the critical path. This is the visual representation. Suppose I say that before activity D, B and A should be complete. Suppose I say before activity D, B should be complete, A should also be complete. Now forget that dummy activity is not there. Then this relation will not be established. Suppose dummy activity is not there, then the relation is before C, A should be complete, before D, B should be complete. Now suppose I want you to make a diagram. There are 4 activities A, B, C, D. A project has 4 activities. Before C, A should be complete, should be completed. Before C, A should be complete. Before D, B should be complete. Suppose this is a statement. There are 4 activities in a project. Before C, A should be complete. Before D, B should be complete. Then remove it and we have got 2 paths. Correct. But suppose I say before D, B and A should be complete. Then how shall you make the diagram? It cannot be made now without dummy activity. तो हम ऐसी dummy activity लगा देते हैं. ये बस रिलेशन एस्टेब्लिश करता है कि D से पहले A और B दोनों हो जाएं. तो ये डमी एक्टिविटी से पहले A हो चुका है. एंड आई टेल यू एरो ऑलवेज फ्लो फॉरवर्ड. कभी भी आपको नेटवर्क डायग्राम में एरो ऐसा नहीं दिखेगा, पीछे की तरफ नहीं आएगा. डायग्राम फ्लोज फॉरवर्ड, सो एरो फ्लोज फॉरवर्ड, ऐसा होता है. सेम थिंग विच आई टोल्ड यू. नाउ व्हाट इज फ्लोट? फ्लोट इज समथिंग विच इज फ्री टाइम कितना है किसी पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटी के पास. I am to complete that activity in 30 days, 20 days, बट अगर उसमें डिले हो जाए तो क्या प्रोजेक्ट में कंप्लीट कर सकता हूं? तो टर्म स्लैक इज फॉर इवेंट और नोड एंड फ्लोट इज फॉर एक्टिविटी. इट इज द रेंज इन विच आई कैन डिले पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटी. 4 टाइप्स के आपके फ्लोट होते हैं, टोटल, फ्री, इंडिपेंडेंट, इंटरफेयरिंग फ्लोट, ऐसे 4 टाइप के होते हैं. नाउ सी दिस केयरफुली फ्रेंड्स, दिस इज इनिशियल नोड I and node J, this is the activity A, and Tij or Dij is the duration or time. Now for starting node, E is earliest start time for this activity, this is latest finish time for previous activity. E stands for earliest start time, and L stands for latest finish time. Now see carefully, this EI belongs to this activity or this LJ also belongs to this activity. Earliest start time for A, this activity is this, latest finish is for this. Now this E is for the next and this L is for the previous activity, right? So let me explain this again to you. Now let us say this is activity A, this is activity P, this is activity R. Now this node is, let's say 1, this node is 2, 10, 15, 25, 40. A is going to take 5 days, let us say. So earliest when can I start activity A? Earliest when can I start activity A? After 10 days. By latest when can I complete activity A? Latest by 40 days. Latest by 40 days. Earliest when can I start activity R? 25 days. Latest when can I finish activity P? I need to complete P latest by 15 days. When can I earliest start A? After 10 days. When can I latest finish A? After 40 days. Now just consider activity A. What is the float, total float on it? Total float on A is 10, this is 40, take the difference between the two, 40 minus 10 minus duration, that is 5, 25 days. So this is called total float. So how float is calculated for every activity? Float for every activity is calculated from this EI, LI, EJ, LJ and Tij. From this, these are the formulas, this is how you calculate. So Lj minus EI minus Dij is total float. That is the maximum free time available for an particular activity. Now free float, independent float, total float is more than free float is more than independent float. This is how these other two floats are calculated. So free float is, now what is total float you have calculated minus difference of EJ and LJ. So whatever free float is, how much? Free float is equal to total float minus difference of these two, LJ minus EJ, and independent float is free float minus difference of these two, Li minus EI. So if total float you have calculated, from total float difference of these two is calculated, reduce, that is free float, and plus difference of this is also calculated, that independent float. That means when I calculate total float, that means I am taking the float available to next and previous activity to myself. इसके पास भी तो फ्लोट होना चाहिए था, इसके पास भी होना चाहिए था, मैंने ले लिया. जब मैं इंडिपेंडेंट फ्लोट, जब मैं फ्री फ्लोट निकालता हूं तो आई डू नॉट डिस्टर्ब दिस गाय. When I calculate independent float, I do not disturb this guy also, this guy also. So when I am calculating total float, I am disturbing this guy also, this guy also. इसकी छुट्टी भी मैं खा गया, इसकी भी खा गया. फ्री फ्लोट इसको मैंने डिस्टर्ब नहीं किया, इंडिपेंडेंट फ्लोट मैंने इसको भी नहीं किया, मैंने इसको भी नहीं किया. This is how it is done. So these are the type of floats, friends. Earliest start, late start time, earliest finish, late finish time. slack and float. So this same thing which I discussed with you is explained here through example. So float is for activity, slack is for node event. This is mainly CPM, this is mainly PERT. Crashing, as I told you, is reducing the duration. So friends, this was for your this particular exam. Solve the question numerical. One more PERT and CPM lecture is already there. That lecture will be provided to you in case you want to see that in detail. But first complete this. I believe for your exam this is sufficient. And another lecture will also be provided to you, that is for 1 hour. In case you want to see in detail, you can see that also, but I think this is sufficient. Thank you.